Look, are we going live? We're live. Okay. Check one, check one, check. Hey everybody, can you hear me meow? Dun, 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 dun. Let's see what we got going. Good morning, Vietnam. It is Monday, right? Yes. You guys think I'm kidding? It is June 28th. Hi, my name is Mike Meyers. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Mike Meyers live stream. Ask Mike anything. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us who are isolated by the coronavirus an opportunity to continue our studies on CompTIA certifications. So this is an AMA, so it works like this. You ask me questions and I answer them. The best and easiest way to ask me questions is just to type them here into the chat window. Now, make sure you see in the chat window, on the upper left-hand side of the chat window, it says top chat. Don't be in there, be in live chat. We are going to have some competitions today for free game, for free practice questions. So be sure that you're in the right spot. Today is going to be resume day today. I've got 5 different resumes. And so I'm looking forward to talking about what people look for on their resumes and what employers look for on resumes. And somebody smeared Vaseline all over my glasses. Bear with me a minute. It's always that weird thing, guys who always wear glasses, and then the one time they take their glasses off, and it's like, whoa, that dude looks weird. Yeah, I know. Okay. Ah, there, I can see everybody now. All right, so basically, you asked me questions here on this live stream. So type them into the chat. If I miss a question, don't panic, just ask again, okay? I'll get to them. I'll use the timestamps on the chat. So if you don't have timestamps turned on, go ahead and turn those on, because that will definitely help in terms of understanding where I'm at, because I'm always running behind. If by any chance, though, you're a shy person, you don't want to type questions in the live chat, it's no big deal. Just go ahead and send me an email directly. I am michaelm@totalsem.com, and just email me your questions there. Also, if you're a gamer, I am Senor Pepe, and when in doubt, I'm Desweds. That's D-E-S-W-E-D-S. And if Desweds doesn't make any sense to you, take your left finger and try typing it. Desweds. It is a kinetic acronym that allows me to write my first name, Desweds, and never take my hand off the mouse. So it works out pretty well. All right, so that is the basic plan for today. Do keep in mind, it is 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time here in Houston, Texas. We will run from now until 4 o'clock. Or until the questions run out. So if we run low on questions, not a big deal. We just hit that point and we end on the earlier side. Again, I'm really here to help you guys, and it works out just fine that way. What else we got going on here today? Yeah, definitely doing resumes today. Bob Noob. I remember Bob Noob. Used to be a fun game we played back a long time ago called Hi Bob. And in order to play Hi Bob, you'd have to watch episodes of the old 1970s television show, The Bob Newhart Show. Now, I'm not talking about the Bob Newhart Show where he played the innkeeper. I'm talking about where he lived in Chicago. This is an old television series in the 70s. It actually was a pretty good television series. But it was a drinking game. And every time when somebody said Bob, you would have to take a sip of beer. And anytime somebody said, hi, Bob, you had to drink an entire can of beer. So, yeah, I haven't played that in a while. Hi, Bob. So, hi, Bob. Joomp. All right, elbows on for at least a little bit. Andrew Hutz, Andrew DeGoyet, Alan Dugan. We need to get people who have names that do not start with A. I'm just saying. Andrew Parrish, Jason Helms, there we go. Nigel's here. DBT Wizted. Hi diddly ho neighbors. Heidi ho neighbors. And of course we always have, we got Dave Rush on today. We may have Scott Jernigan on the support staff, but I don't, oh good Lord. I'm gonna type in my back channel stuff here. All right. Okay, Dave Rush, there. I lit up the Teams back channel here. So whenever I say something wrong, Dave can get there, type in, Mike, you're wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong sometimes. A couple of things before anybody yells at me. I have not sent out any of the free questions from last week. I will literally do that today as soon as we're done here. I will absolutely get that out today. So I apologize to the couple of y'all because I definitely got everybody's email, but I will get it out there. All right, so when things get quiet, this is my opportunity. I'm just looking through questions, seeing what's happening here today. Dr. Quinn. Nigel, it's a Tuesday for me. Yeah, I guess it would be. 201, Michael Armstrong. What is the best path to take after passing Security Plus? Well, Michael, the big question is where's your passion in IT? There's over 1,000 different IT certifications, and IT certifications are really nothing more than a kind of a gauge of where your interests are. I saw the most interesting video recently where someone saying, are IT certifications worth it? And the answer was yes, they are, and I would certainly agree with that. The challenge is, are IT certifications always something you need at all times to always get a job? No. IT certifications show up two places in a person's IT career. Usually right at the very beginning, and usually with the more basic certs like a CompTIA A+, Net+, right there. And then the second place it's going to show up is when you're doing a big gear shift within the industry. Let's say you were a Cisco person, all right, and you're a real good Cisco screwdriver technician, and you decided to go into wireless. Picking up some certifications there is a good way to go to allow people to see where your interests, motivations, and desires are. So, Michael, the answer is what do you want to do? I mean, you've gone through Security Plus, which tells me you've done A+ and Network Plus, or something close to that. You've been doing a lot of studying, you've been doing a lot of research, and you've been watching the news. I'm being distracted by things on the side. So why don't you just, find where your passions are and go with that? And you don't have to be exactly right the first time. IT security is not the end all of careers. Security is important, but it's certainly not the only thing there is in the world of IT. IT is massive in terms of skill sets and goals and motivations of where people want to be. Like a really good skilled enterprise level wireless person is extremely desired in today's world. A good Cisco person is always going to be good. Cloud is always good. So I get a little nervous when I hear people go, okay, so I'm going to do A+, Net+, Security Plus, what's next? What's next is what you want to be next. Once you've got these three basic certs covered, man, it's your time to start making some decisions and decide where you want to go. So I'll tell you what, Michael Armstrong, let's see, we'll get some idea where you're at in terms of what you want to do. Did he put anything else in? I'm watching. All right. Andrew Hutz, Mike, I'm hacking hack-the-box machines, drinking a cold microbrew, sitting next to the ocean. Is this awesome? Yes, that is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. David Mohan, hi, can you check this question on Total Sims? It's asking about animals. Its question ID is 30. Okay, yeah, so David, I gotta warn you, if I was sitting in the offices of Total Seminars, I would have some access to these questions, but I apologize, David, I do not have direct access to them here in my home. And it depends on who's listening in. Maybe we can get somebody to respond to that. So we will look at it. David, probably the far better thing for you to do would be to send me an email. Send me an email to michaelm@totalsem.com, and then we can look at those things. And it's usually better for me to just respond to you directly on those. David, I get the impression you're going to be asking a few of these types of questions. So if we get a system going, then I'll be able to respond to you on a more timely basis. Alan Dugan. Hi, Mike. Would you know of any websites that would be helpful for learning about virtual machines for interview questions? No. No. I mean, that might be something I might want to type into YouTube, but I don't like the idea of somebody going, what would be the type of questions I would run into in a technical interview of any form? Either you're going to know the stuff or not. So to try to cram in some questions like that is going to be a little tough. I wouldn't worry about that. I'd worry about your skills with virtual machines. But no, I would definitely not. I do not know of a website that does what you're asking. RedTuber, THR33, or that's 3. I passed Security Plus. Well done. RedTuber, congratulations to you. Well done, well done, well done. David Mohan passed the Network Plus. Look at him, rocking and rolling. Well done, David Mohan. Good to see lots of people passing stuff. That's always the important thing. Crazy Homebody Girls here. Good, good, good. Vishal Sanjeev. Hello, hello, man. All right, well, David Mohan, you lucky person. Thank goodness for Michael Smyer. He actually pulled up the question that you were asking. And it's actually one of the more simple questions that we run into. It's called Fox and Hound is a brand name for what device? Oh. Okay. So this is an interesting question here, folks. David Mohan has a question, says, Fox and Hound is a brand name for what device? And there's 4 answers: multimeter, crimper, toner, or hub. Okay. So, David, I'm just going to speculate that I know what you're going to say about this. So, if you look at the 4 answers, one is multimeter, another is crimper. Fox and Hound it's a toner and tone generator, okay? So, a tone probe and a tone generator. So, answer C is toner, which is the only possible right answer. The other 3 is multimeter, crimper, and hub. Those 3 just don't work. I'm going to speculate, and David, if I'm wrong, I apologize, that David Mohan is going to say, well, Mike, Fox and Hound are 2 separate devices made by Triplet Corporation. One is a tone generator, the Fox, and the Hound is the tone probe, the one that makes the noise. So I don't like that question because the Fox and the Hound are 2 different things, and you're trying to answer with just one thing, toner. This is a very good question, David Mohan, and that's all I'm going to say about that question. Remember that the number 2 reason people fail certification exams is because they know too much. So, David, I'm gambling I know the right answer. I'm actually going to scroll down, see if David's responded here at all. Did he leave? All right, well, David, I hope I answered your question, buddy. I saw you were typing something and then deleted it. But, no. So hopefully we got it for you, man. David, these are excellent questions. Please keep them up. Syed Hussein's here again. Good. Hello, sir. I passed comp. Look at all these people passing exams. Well done, Syed, man. Round of applause. Let's do this right. Andrew Hutz, I've got some free questions pending from a few weeks ago, LOL. Yeah, Andrew, we didn't realize that our main marketing gal went on vacation, and I don't even know if she's back. We're all so disconnected these days. I will get that yet, so... we'll get back up to speed on that. I apologize for that. We are behind. Not that behind, but a little behind. All right. Hey, Mr. G, I know what I want. 2:07 p.m. I ride dirt. Hey, Mike, getting ready to take my 1002 tonight. Wish me luck. Luck. Any recommendations for last minute studying? Yeah, stop studying. Like right now. You're not going to learn anything between now and tonight. What time is it here? It's 2:15. I'm assuming you're in the States. You know, a couple more hours of study isn't going to do you any good. It is time for you to kick back, my friend. Have a non-adult beverage. Have, you know, something that's not going to inebriate you. Kick back. I would recommend catching up on Rick and Morty season 5. Probably not a bad place to start while they're still free on Adult Swim. And do not think about the A+ exam for a little bit. A couple of things. Always remember on the A+. Number one, the first questions that they ask you, both in the performance-based and multiple choice, can be and often are practice questions. There's a better word, I forgot what it is. But there could be questions, especially when a test becomes late in its life. This is where CompTIA starts putting in questions that they're looking for the next version. And A+ is probably just a little early on that, but it's not impossible. And they always put them right at the beginning of the test to frazzle you. I wish CompTIA didn't do that. Bottom line is, when you're taking a CompTIA exam, if you get a couple of questions, either of the performance-based or the multiple choice, and they're completely out of left field, don't panic. Go ahead and answer them as best you can, but don't panic. I don't know why CompTIA always puts them at the beginning, because it freaks people out. But we shouldn't be freaked out on things like that. And please go ahead and just go ahead and take them, and you'll be fine. But the important thing at this point is taking it easy. David Rush, no one learns the secret handshake without me. I heard secret handshake. I suddenly wanted to put on my Grand Poobah hat. Andrew Parrish, hey Mike, when I started at my job almost a year ago, I would be considered help desk, but now I'm a field technician and desktop support. Andrew Parrish, 209, that's how it works, man. That's just how it happens. Congratulations, good for you. I'm not surprised, I am pleased. So the other thing is I never learned things like Server 2019 or Azure. You can still learn them, right? It's no big deal. You can get both of those things for free and play with them. Do I have to start as help desk at a new job? Probably not. It just depends on what you're looking. You know, the problem is, Andrew, is especially still you're early on in the process like this, you should be grabbing any job you can. Get picky after about 18 months to 2 years. But at this point, do you have to start over as a help desk at a new job? If that's the only thing that's being offered in whatever you're creating limitations for, then yeah, you do. What is important to me is that people show employment. When I see resumes with big empty spaces in it, that tells me that this is a person who can live without an income in one way or another. And it makes me nervous. Is this a person who's going to show up to work? You know, that kind of a thing. So keep working. My passion is where this is. Way to go. Thanks, Nigel. Andrew Hutz. Mike's about to tell you become a plumber or electrician. There's nothing wrong with that. I just wrote a check for $700 for a guy to fix the ice maker in my refrigerator. Yeah. I think the part cost him $150. Dave Rush greeted Mr. G. Mr. G's been here before, man. You guys are still talking about the toner. That's fine. Jason Elms. Everyone's passing because they got great tiers of materials. Yeah, baby. Looking for questions. Mr. G's in here at 2:15. Mike, can you explain again the IPv6 global address structure? I find it confusing with the second 64-bit generated, and why is it so wasteful? Okay. So Mr. G's got a lot of questions packed into this one simple question. Can you explain the IPv6 global address structure? Yes. I find it confusing with the second 64-bit OS generated part of yes. Why is it so wasteful? Mr. G, a lot of people would agree with you that it is wasteful. It doesn't make sense that the smallest network ID you can have in IPv6 is still 2 to the 64th power. First of all, the internet has the ability, if it ever had to, is that we could collapse that ID structure, although at this point in the game it would be tricky to do, but it could be done. To have 2 to the 64th minimum number of hosts in a network ID makes it very hard to guess the number of hosts. It does a very good at defeating scanners, or at least passive scanners. It doesn't do a very good job of stopping active scanners, because active scanners are going to be actively trying to create noise to make devices respond. But it's dangerous to say that IPv6's large network ID host, number of hosts at 2 to the 64th is wasteful. We're 10 years, arguably, I would say, well, 5 years into practical IPv6 adoption, 10 years into marginal IPv6 adoption, and 15 years ago, I was still teaching, I still have plaques that are saying, IPv6 is here. No, really, that was literally the title, because 15 years ago, I couldn't get anybody to adopt it. Less than 15 years ago, I was sitting at a certain conference listening to people with names like Verizon say they don't even know how many bits an IPv6 address is. So it's way too premature to say it's wasteful. The technology can be adjusted down in the future if we needed to, although that would be a big job. And that's just how it is. Nice little things. You got to remember, with a global IPv6 address, or in fact, the word global address is fading. I should be using the word internet address, which seems to be the more common one. Even with those addresses, it's hard. Like for example, with IPv6 not using NAT anymore, do we know that? IPv6 doesn't use NAT in a most perfect environment. It becomes a requirement for bad guys to do much more active detection of things that are going on in order to get through a network. And the last thing is, I'm not going to defend them. It does feel wasteful. It seems to me that we should have gone to like a 48-bit size network ID, but they wanted to split it in half, so it's 64 and 64. I mean, we're already seeing, like, in the first 64 bits, through aggregation, we'll see where we have, like, you know, there's a few of these like WAC 12s, but then it'll be, then it seems to jump to, there's a couple of WAC 30s, then it goes straight to WAC, don't lie, Mike, WAC, a couple of WAC 32s, then WAC 48s, and then all of a sudden you start getting WAC 48, WAC 49, WAC 50. It really starts breaking it down as individual ISPs start dispersing out individual IPv6 addresses. So it works. I'm happy. DBT Wizard, last night's episode was a trip. I haven't seen it yet. We're talking about Rick and Morty, no doubt, but I will definitely be watching it. Okay, so 216, Michael Armstrong. Does your Network Plus class teach about connecting Cisco switchers and creating virtual machines? Actually, the A Plus concentrates more on virtual machines than the Network Plus. Network Plus doesn't really talk about creating virtual machines as much as it talks about some of the connection issues for virtual machines. But Michael Armstrong, if you want to see where you're going to be tested on VMs, you're probably definitely going to want to look at A Plus more than anything else. Connecting Cisco switches. Does it teach about connecting Cisco switches? So the Network Plus certainly covers VLANs, if that's what you're asking, but you got to keep in mind, none of the CompTIA certifications are super step-by-step kind of things that you would see like at a Cisco CCNA, CCNP, where it's like, what are we typing? I wasn't yawning when Scott was here. I don't know. I'll have my way. But the bottom line is that Network Plus's job is not to teach you Cisco. Network Plus's job is to teach you vendor-neutral concepts. Like, for example, I like the way Network Plus teaches, let's use VLANs. It's a great example. Most of the Cisco training that I've looked at starts you off in a very Cisco-biased kind of way of looking at VLANs, whereas CompTIA at least tries to make it more vendor-neutral. So things like that I tend to like. I Ride Dirt noticed some questions in there, yeah. I lost it. How are we doing on time here? Time is 2:27. We're about to start our little talk about resumes because I think this is going to go on for a while. I actually had 5 different people send me resumes, and we're going to be looking through all of those. J.M. Ramiro at 219. What would you recommend for someone that is new to IT and only has A Plus and Security Plus and a secret clearance? What would I recommend? I'd recommend you get a job. J.M. Ramiro. All right, so J.M. Ramiro, I'm just going to assume some things. Like, you have a secret clearance. If that's a military secret clearance, DoD clearances are very attractive to lots of people. You could be working for the U.S. Air Force in a civilian aspect. You should be taking a look at the Department of Justice here in the United States. Have you contacted the FBI, CIA, NSA? All of these people are always looking for folks like yourself. Are they the most glamorous jobs on earth? No. Are you going to be working nights and weekends? Yes. Are you going to have a nice U.S. government, GS-11, GS-12 entry-level job with a nice little paycheck in there and a health plan? Yes. So that might be one thing to take a look at. I mean, somebody like you would be easy to get a job. Easy. Sorry, just looking for... Oh, Somali's back. I haven't seen you in ages. How are you doing, Somali? David Mohan, Security Plus or CCNA to go into security. If you're going into security, you definitely need to be taking Security Plus. Security Plus is such an amazing certification. To me, Security Plus ought to be called Survey of IT Security because it really gives you a broad stroke as terms of the breadth. I mean, it's the first time you're going to hear words like auditing and things like that. Everybody thinks IT security is a bunch of pen testers. There's so much more out there. But I would definitely go with Security Plus. To be honest with you, in today's environment, if you don't intend to be working directly with Cisco devices, I find, I hate to say this too loud, I find that Cisco certifications do not have quite the weight that they used to because everybody's moving to the cloud so quickly. But keep in mind, we're the people who work inside the data centers. We're the people who support the tools that support the cloud. So I don't in any way want people to go, oh, well, Mike Meyers said Cisco's dead. Cisco is not dead. Cisco is doing great. It's just that most people who would normally be interfacing to some extent with Cisco devices are no longer doing it because the cloud has taken so much of that up. That's all I'm saying in that department. Andrew Parrish, thanks, Mike. Very informative, great perspective. That brings me to part 2 of my question. Oh, I remember now. Yes. If I never learn Active Directory and other things at a job, can I self-teach? Yeah, we constantly self-teach. Constantly self-teach, man. You know, Microsoft doesn't give away free copies of Windows Server to only certain customers. They give them to everybody. And if you're not familiar with Active Directory, we did some videos not that long ago where we set up a 180-day version of Windows Server 2019 and set it up in a virtual network using VirtualBox, just so we had stuff to play with. So you might want to check that out. Yeah, you constantly self-teach, Andrew. There's nothing wrong with that. If there's something you need to know, there's nothing wrong with going to your organization and going, hey man, I need a little time to work on this. That happens, okay? But if your organization says no, then as always, it's your nights and weekends that we take up learning new stuff to help us move on. Michael Armstrong, I think you're getting your questions answered for you. It looks like a lot of people are helping out with you, Michael, so holler at me directly if there's an issue, but I'm going to let these guys get you going there. Michael Armstrong, I have 2 old Cisco 2900 switches that I'm trying to learn on. 2900s are getting a little long in the tooth. I mean, they still work fine. Honestly, for layer 2, those 2900s would probably be fine. You know, it's just setting up trunk ports and playing with, this is all VLAN with switches, man. That's all this dynamic desirable and dealing with all that. I bet the 2900s would probably be fine. But of course, that wouldn't be all you need, right? I mean, even CCNA definitely covers layer 3 as well. All right, it looks like we have a moment of slowdown on questions. What time is it? I have 2:25 is where I stopped looking there. And I thought, let's go ahead and take some time and take a look at some resumes. Now, I need to qualify to you guys a couple of things. There's 2 very different kinds of resumes out there. There's the entry level, what I call the one-pager resume, and then there is the more detailed, I am looking for a very specific kind of job. Often a lot of times you saw a job posting, you know, in-house or something like that, and those tend to be more detailed. So in general, I'm going one of those 2 ways. The other thing is that I ran into a couple of very interesting resumes. And the problem is I've worked very carefully, except for Nigel, who left his name, just his first name in there. I deleted everybody else's personal information out of there, so I don't remember who is whose. But with that attitude in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at some resumes. I'm going to start with, this was a good little resume. Let's go ahead and pull this one up for starters. All right. All right, now the other thing before I show you this first resume, I want to make sure you guys understand, I'm giving you my opinion, okay? I think I have a pretty good handle on the zeitgeist of resumes and what people look for and what HR people look for and what hiring managers look for and what, you know, usually it's, you know, the boss of that job they're hiring for is the one who does a lot of the interviewing. So I have a pretty good sense on that. So what we're going to be doing here is just kind of taking a look at these on an individual basis. And let's start with, you guys ready? Here we go. Here's resume number 1. Can I zoom that in a little bit? Yeah. All right, so start off, so I've blocked it out, but putting your name, your email address, phone number information at the very beginning is a great way to start. Always having a nice header like that is a great way to go. I particularly like this one. Education is tight, all right? There's certifications. I'd probably put certifications lower down, but they're okay here too. And then experience. Notice with the experience, there's only like 3-4 bullet points per situation. Now, if I was going to raise an issue at this particular resume, it's accomplishments. This makes me nervous. It's not that accomplishments are wrong, but when I hear accomplishments, I would say things like, here, this person put in constructed a VPN. See, I would put in something more like, I have constructed a VPN system for a small office network using, IPsec or whatever it might be. So this isn't very valuable. I'd probably consider taking that out. And then skills, nice little list of skills. It's never bad. So not a bad little start. I like a tighter, more simple resume. The only thing that I might want to consider is some type of initial statement, kind of saying, I am looking for a blank, wherever I'm looking to do, that kind of gives me an idea of what you're trying to do. But otherwise, that was a pretty good little resume. Let's do it again. Okay. Okay, let me pull this one up. Hang on. If you guys do what I had to do just to get something up on a screen around here. Okay. All right, this will work. Let's look at our second resume. All right, the second resume, once again, the person has put their name, phone number, and email up at the top. I've blocked that out in blue, but I'm happy with the way that looks. That's a good way to do it. Here's a nice profile summary, and I do like seeing that, just kind of giving me an idea of who you are, what are you trying to be when you grow up. Areas of expertise, this is almost too big. In particular, you got to be careful here. I'm not totally against this. I think it's a little bit big instead of the old listing. I would put something like this in only as a reaction to people who were asking about stuff. All right, experience. This is just way too long. Way too long. Okay, the problem I have with this experience is that notice there's like 6 to 7, 8 bullet points per. You should keep this down to 3 or 4. And if you're like, well, I want to tell them everything, well, that's what interviews are for, folks. All right, so hit the 3 biggest ones, and just keep it a little bit smaller. The other thing you got to watch out for here, there's 2 things that are bothering me here. Where'd it go? I can't find it. All right, so the first thing that's bothering me on this particular resume is there's a tremendous amount of overlap. There's overlaps and then there's gaps. And I understand these things happen. There's no such thing as this perfect, I worked here, and then I worked here, and then I worked here, although this is more common than you think. But I would look to structure this a little bit better and watch the overlaps. There's a lot of overlapping. Also remember, guys, when you're interviewing, people don't like to hear about entrepreneurial stuff. In general, people don't like to hire entrepreneurs, okay? If you start entrepreneuring and then suddenly you want to start working for somebody, you better give a really clear reason why. So just be careful about that. I'm not even saying this person does that. I'm just saying that that is something to watch out for. Education's fine there. The last ones, they put something on certifications I don't quite understand. There's these big numbers. I don't even know what those numbers are. And then I would probably date these. in general, I don't care what version you're taking, but I would be interested in when you took certain certifications. So yeah, when you start folding into a third page, there's something, I try to cut your stuff down so it doesn't do that. So I know that for a lot of you guys, the people who submitted these resumes are here today. I'm not here to argue with your resume, folks, okay? If you feel strongly about something, you're allowed to disagree with me. I'm just telling you what I look for in my resumes. Okay, next one. You guys ready? Here we go. All right. So this was another good one. My problem with this resume, so like doing this kind of a thing in terms of, bringing up your strong points, I'm not against that necessarily. Not against that at all. But you can see in this particular case, they're kind of gearing for a very specific type of job. So this is an example of what I was talking about earlier. I'm getting frustrated by this. There we go. This is an example of somebody who's looking for a more specific job, whereas the other two resumes we saw earlier were, in my opinion, a little bit more kind of entry-level type ones. So let's take a look at what the difference here is. It's a little heavy on the verbiage. If I'm someone who's doing a lot of hiring, all of these little words are going to start melting after the 20th one, so you might want to be a little bit tighter there. But again, it's a good introductory statement. I like that. I'm not sure. I guess this person is bringing up their skill sets. Okay, I'll go with that. This is also good too. So what you're looking at here in terms of technical competencies, notice that they break it up by platform, software, hardware, networking, which are arbitrary breakdowns, folks. Keep in mind, everybody's going to be a little bit different here. But as opposed to the other person we saw where they just listed a bunch of software, a little breakdown like this looks nice, and I'm pleased. I'm also pretty happy with the fonts here. Again, a little too tight, but not terrible. Not terrible at all. I would keep reading this. I guess that's the most important thing I can say. So here we go with jobs. Notice here on this person, so I'm present back to September 2017, then August 2017. So I am noticing that this person's been pretty well keeping employed, which is a good thing. There's a little tiny bit of a gap. So the other thing to watch out for here is, like, for example, the senior system analyst, this data is 20 years old. You probably don't want it. A lot of people will say with resumes go back 10 years, but I'm not against going back further than that, as long as you're really showing something that's supporting where you want to go with it. Like if he had a job flipping burgers at McDonald's, I don't even want to see it. I don't even want to see it. I'd almost rather you not be working than to say you worked at McDonald's. Not against McDonald's at all. Yeah. But again, my opinion. All right, certifications, nice little quick tight listing of certifications, glad to see that. Education, again, pretty tight. I wouldn't do this. So they're putting in New Horizons training as like professional development. I don't know. The problem I have with this resume is that I don't have many problems with it. It's actually structured pretty nicely. And while it may be a little heavy on the verbiage, it doesn't seem to push past 2 pages, which is good. And I'm not against this resume. I would read it. Yes, that is the real criteria for all this, isn't it? Would Mike Meyers read my resume? All right, what are we up to here? This next resume is interesting, very interesting. Is this one? Yeah, this is the one. I want you guys to check this resume out. All right? Here we go. Look how pretty this resume is. Now, this is from someone in Europe. I don't know if that makes any difference. This would not be a very common American style resume. It is a single page, which I like. This is clearly an entry level, in my opinion, kind of job. And I think it's a bit of a jump to go from cybersecurity. I guess if you're really looking for a cybersecurity job, then shoot, why not go for it? Interesting use of graphics and things like that, which I just never seen. This is culturally a very different kind of resume than what I'm used to looking at. But it's pretty. There is a value to pretty without going nuts. It's, it's not 18 different fonts in here. The use of color, that's fine. It's got a nice statement at the beginning, so I know what they're looking for. It's got their education, work experience, certifications. And then throwing in stuff like, and again, this is interesting because I am such an American. Having languages is surely extremely important in the EU, where it's a multicultural thing. It reminds me of a joke. What do you call someone who speaks only one language? Monolingual. What do you call somebody who speaks? Oh, I blew the joke. Never mind. I totally blew the joke. I'm not going to repeat it. What do you call someone who speaks two languages? Duolingo. How do you speak someone who speaks three languages? Try. What do you speak someone who speaks one language? An American. There we go. If I'm going to blow the joke, I might as well blow it properly. All right, but that was a very interesting resume, and it passes the Mike I like it test. I like the single page. There is a lot of wasted space in there, especially with that monogram in the upper left-hand corner, but thinking about an entry-level job, I am not against that one at all. All the pertinent information was there. All right. So then, of course, my favorite Aussie ever, Nigel. Let's bring up Nigel. Nigel actually gave me 2 resumes. So let's see if I can pull up that second resume. All right, let's get the first one going. All right, so here's the first one. Of course, Nigel, he marked out all of his personal information. So QLD, is that Queensland? My knowledge of Australian geography is not as good as it should be. Probably, I like the way this breakdown, operating system, networking tools, I like that. I'm not against that. And probably you could do a little less of that. In particular, nice introductory statement, very good there. But I would probably cut out some of these, depending on what job I'm applying for. So you guys realize that good resumes, you'll probably have like 3 or 4 different resumes that you put together based on the types of jobs you're looking for. Help desk is going to have one look to it. Maybe, some other form of support technician would have another one. Anyway, let's keep looking. Okay, so Nigel, once again, way too many of these. You just don't need that many. No one's going to read them. Nobody's going to read them. I understand why you put them in there too, because you want to get as much information as you can out to a prospective employer, and you're like, well, I did all these things. It's like, pick the top 3 or 4. That's all you need. Same here, same here. Not bad though. My only real complaints, it's 3 pages. I'd probably get it down to 2 somehow. I like the beginning note. I like the overview statement. Technical skills could be cut in half. These could be cut in half or less. Like just take out at least half of those. And that would easily fit into 2 pages. And I think you'd be fine. I believe there was one more. Hello? Hang on, kids. I'm trying to find my last resume. Where'd it go? This is also Nigel's. Hang on, buddy. I've got it here. Here, I found it. Okay. So this is actually kind of cool. And Nigel, thank you for bringing in two. It's actually very helpful and kind of supports what I was saying earlier. So here's another, this is a nice one. And Nigel is from Down Under. So nice little opening thing there. Little overview statement, always good. Professional experience, much tighter on this one. I like this one a lot more. Key achievements, I like that. Quick little braces of skills. Now, you might be going, well, why didn't Nigel put his certifications? Well, maybe he doesn't have any, or maybe he's just got like one or two. You know, like here in the States, putting the word certifications list available upon request is not a terrible thing to do. It just really just depends on the job you're going for. But in general, Nigel, I got to tell you, I like that second one better than I like the first one. None of these resumes are terrible. They're all obviously well structured, well spell checked, thank goodness. Grammar checks are in there. These are important things. So the general structure looks good. So there's no bad resumes. All of them are great. Literally the only thing I could, if I had to really dig, is that I think you guys had a few too many bullet points on job experience. But other than that, I think it looks really good. Dave was telling me the text was a little small. Guys, I don't think watching the text was that terribly critical. We got the basic idea across there. Okay. Jane Slayer, Mike, any opinion on McAfee? Expensive and takes up too much overhead. Honestly, you know, for Malwarebytes still works fine for me. Did Scott Jernigan show up? Oh my goodness, Scott Jernigan is here. Hooray! William Jeske, in terms of date style, any advice with using apostrophes to replace the 19 in years? Well, William, if you're going back to 19 other than your birth date, you're probably going back too far, so I would just not do that. Why are you guys talking about hussars? Michael Armstrong, what have you been in the workforce since '88? Well, if you've been in the, you don't put everything there. You don't put everything on your resume. You kind of cut it back. Jason Elms, add Mike, resume quiz, this is 245. Let's say you had several jobs. The last one you had was 12 years. Would you only list the one job you had 12 years? No, actually, Jason, that would be the one exception to my 10-year rule. And that is, if you have only one job, maybe I want to put another job in there. The reason you're doing that is that it backs up two things. Number one, it shows that you've worked at one place for a long time. Because I'm going to be looking at that begin date. And then it's going to show me that you leapt right into it. Now, you got to be careful with this. There's a lot of people out there who've only worked for one company their entire lives. And if that's the truth, then that's what you do. That's what you put in there. You work for this one company. The second thing, though, I'm going to be very curious about is why are you quitting? Why'd you quit that job? If you were there for 12 years or something like that, especially if it's really close. Jane Slayer says, resumes are read by automatic programs. None of these resumes are formatted correctly for those programs. They would be rejected. Jane Slayer, I read lots of resumes almost whenever we're hiring, and I'm not an automatic program, and we hire people all the time. J.M. Romero, should I include military history in the resume, even if my job was not? Yes. J.M. Romero, especially if you're in the United States, if there's ever a chance to put in that you work for the military, put it in. Most of us like to see military experience. It shows that you have dependability. It shows that you have an integrity. It shows that you know how to get up in the morning. And you have discipline. Even if it's not related, I would very much put that in. Andrew Hutz. The secret is to find a way to socially engineer your way into giving the resume to someone who works there to pass on. I don't think Andrew's kidding, but I agree with him. Anytime you can avoid the cattle call and get in through well, here in Texas, we call it the good old boy network, you definitely take advantage of those types of opportunities. And I agree. I very much agree. Jane Slayer, I'm going to have to do my own research on your supposition that all resumes are read by ATS. Automatic text. I know just the HR person to ask this question to. And I am going to see if you're right. I'm not prepared to disagree with you, but again, I hire people, I look at regular resumes. There is no scanning going on. But we'll check it out. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Jane. I'm going to check it out. Larry Harold, if I'm wanting to get Network Plus, what all resources do you recommend? Okay, Larry, in general, in order for people to pass any certification, not just the stuff that I teach for, but any of them, you're going to need three things. You're going to need a book, you're going to need videos, and you're going to need practice questions. And at Total Seminars, we sell all three of those. And in fact, here in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be giving away some practice questions. So bear with me. But the three things that people need, you need a book, you need videos, and you need practice questions. If you only had one thing, it would be practice questions. If you had two, some people are better readers than video watchers. You have to know what kind of learner you are. Do you like to read or do you prefer videos? Well, Mike, I like to read. Well, then your number two thing will be a book. But I find, and I've been doing this now for close to 30 years, is that if I combine a book and a video and practice questions, that covers the vast majority of learning styles for adult learning theory that I've dealt with. And it works really well, and we have a very high success rate to back that up. So what resource do you recommend? Okay, Larry, you can get all that stuff. Udemy, LinkedIn tend to have better prices than our own videos on our own website. You can get the books on Amazon and the practice questions at TotalSem.com. Looking for questions. Vander Gaming. Vandersex. Funny European vacation movie. Scotty doesn't know. I'm sorry, guys, I'm getting distracted. I'm trying to read questions here. Vander Gaming at 254. Mike, got an A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, and CCNA. At this point, I'm not sure what to do next. Get a job, Vander Gaming. Get a job. Work. You know what? I'm just going to pretend that Vander Gaming has a job. What do you want to do? You've got a good piece of coverage there, Vander Gaming. Have you looked into cloud? Have you looked into network administration? Have you looked into wireless? You know, again, and also Vander Gaming, there's probably a good chance that your work experience tends to move you in directions as well. And you know, what's out there? What's happening? You know. I refuse to just say, I have this list of certifications, what do I do next? I need to know you and what you're looking for and what your needs, wants, and desires are. J.M. Ramiro, do employers ever ask about scores and certifications? Not that I've ever seen, not once. D for diploma. That's right, Andrew Hutz. Jason had a great question at 229. No, but I'll look. I'm at 229. Vishnu Tulawit at 229. Andrew Hutz at 229. Jason Helms at 227. Jason Helms might need to go review that chapter. I don't see it. Dean Odd and back at 228 said hello. Good, good, good. Sorry, man, don't see it. You're going to have to repost. Apologize. Brad Taylor, off-topic question. No, it's not. Are there drawbacks to putting 3200 megahertz RAM in a motherboard that is rated for 2133 or other than the RAM being throttled? Well, Brad, it really depends on the chipset. I mean, back in the old days, putting in overspeeded RAM was never a big deal. RAM that was faster rated than the motherboard could handle, it wasn't a big deal. I haven't done this in a long time because I'm fearful. Skylake chipset is definitely, a few years back. So Brad, the question here is, if you have the RAM, put it in. It's not going to break anything. It might, theoretically, the motherboard chipset, the RAM can run at the slower speeds, no problem. You should be fine. It's interesting, though, is that just something I don't do anymore. I used to do this all the time. Like one of the big things is that, especially in the DDR2 and DDR3 days, is that RAM speeds were incrementing up so quickly. I hated to buy RAM that was spec'd out in the motherboard because I knew when my next motherboard came along, it probably wouldn't work. So I was always getting faster RAM, and I'll tell you, I definitely saved some money. So Jason Helms, ask your question again. All I see is UDP versus TCP. What about it? I'm glad to answer UDP versus TCP questions. Andrew Hutz, Mike, I have a non-US citizenship that I don't need. Okay, and it is from a country that has some serious APT. Andrew, for U.S. federal government jobs, secondary citizenships do come into play. I don't think renouncing would help, to be honest with you. I don't think it would help. Because they'll know about it. It's not like, I don't think it works that way. Jan Romero, also I have a college degree that's not related to IT. Should I include that on my resume? Absolutely, yes. My degree's in Homeland Security, great. Another one, criminal justice. Jan Romero, you should definitely be looking here in the U.S. at all the federal level law enforcement groups. They want you, J.M. Romero. I guarantee you they do. And that doesn't mean you have to wear a badge and a gun. A lot of these jobs are just regular civilian 9 to 5-ish kind of jobs. But it is a common and normal pathway for people in the military to move into these Department of Justice type jobs in IT. They don't pay terribly. I mean, they don't pay like private sector, but J.M. Ramiro, if everything else about you looked as good as what you told me, you could be working in a week. I don't think there'd be any problems at all. Unless there's something scary I don't know about. Jane Slayer, Mike, Euro Trip was an amazing movie. It absolutely was, Jane Slayer. Jason Helms, Mike, can you explain UDP versus TCP? That's all you want to know, all right? Okay, yes, I can explain you the difference. All right, so first of all, have you guys ever noticed that when we talk about the protocol of the internet, we say TCP IP? So it's transmission control protocol / IP over internet protocol. So we're basically talking about IP, which is going to be layer 3 on the OSI, and then TCP is going to be handling arguably layer 4 and 5 of the OSI. But TCP isn't the only protocol out there. There's another protocol called UDP, and I don't remember what UDP stands for, and I don't care. Ugly data protocol, whatever. Dave will punch it up for me. TCP handles 95% of everything that happens on the internet, maybe more than that. TCP is a connection-oriented protocol. With a connection-oriented protocol, all connections between a client and a server initiate with some form of handshaking. In TCP, we call it the ACK-NACK, where you actually, as the client, I initiate a conversation. I'm like, hello. And then the server says, I see you. What can I do for you? And then the client responds back with its actual request. So in order for a TCP connection to take place, there has to be some form of handshake. It has to be connection-oriented in that there is a hello, how are you, let's get started. Also, with TCP connections, you have an end. And there's a point where it just ends. And then you have the opportunity to make a nice, clean goodbye. All right, I'm all finished now. Are you done? I'm done. Okay. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Boom. 95% of all the data on the internet is TCP. UDP, oh, come on, Dave, what is it? User Datagram Protocol. Thank you, Dave. UDP is not connection-oriented. With UDP, and it's going to have very specific applications. Probably the most famous one I ever used, well, there's a lot of them, but like Trivial File Transfer Protocol, TFTP. With TFTP, there's no handshake. There's no nothing. It just starts sending the data. And it assumes that the server on the other end has his catcher's mitt up there and is ready and is listening on the proper port and can actually deal with that type of data. So both TCP and UDP are used as those two protocols are a huge part of the internet. To get past that, we'd have to start looking at like, and then people start to argue things like ICMP, IGMP, stuff like that. But the TCP is connection-oriented, UDP is connectionless. And be able to say that Trivial FTP is an example of a UDP application, and you're pretty well got it covered. Ardian can't get top secret with dual citizenship. I didn't know that. That's almost hard to believe. Ardian, I will take your word for it. Ardian at 304. Can't get top secret with dual citizenship. Well, there you go. Or Andrew, you could always go over there, man. So while we're here, Dave Rush did post up, and guys, look at 3:05 p.m. right around there. We do have a Discord channel. Let me rephrase that. I don't have a Discord channel. There is a unofficial Mike Meyers Discord channel. It's becoming pretty popular. Seems to be a lot of people on it. Me and/or Scott Jernigan and/or Dave Rush tend to pop on it on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. But it's open 24/7. I recommend it. It's a good group of folks in there. And if I don't answer the question, there's lots of other people in there who are as skilled, if not more skilled than me, who can answer tech questions on just about anything. So there is a link for it there. The Discord link is shown up for Dave, and Dave Rush put that at 3:05. Please check out the Discord channel. It's a good group of folks. And definitely bring your camera and your headset onto Discord and say hello so everybody can see you. Abu Bakr Alij, does DDR2 SD-RAM have speed also? Well, DDR and DDR2 are SD-RAM. They're just double increased speed. Do they have speed? They do. All right. I used to work with all of them without any problems. Okay, well, if you were working with them without any problems, then either somebody else was giving you the right speed of RAM for whatever use you were using them for, or you were very, very lucky. But yeah, they definitely have a speed. And in the PC world, usually the motherboard itself, the CPU itself definitely has a speed of RAM it's designed to work with. J.M. Romero, TCP is a guaranteed connection. No, it's not. It's a handshake connection, but guarantee is not. UDP is faster, but not as reliable. Yeah, because it doesn't handshake. That's okay, J.M. Romero. You can keep me honest. Nothing wrong with that. Scott Jernigan, DNS uses UDP. Total Seminars channel, don't forget. That's true. I just think, yeah, okay. Thank you, Scott. We got lots of people in here who are familiar with top secret clearances here in the United States. Obi-Wan is telling us, renounce all other allegiances to other countries. There you go. Well, Obi-Wan, Ardian, thank you for the insight. Things I did not know. Rocket Co, Mike, do you answer your emails? Yes, I just answered a ton of them. So, Rocket Co is mad at me because I didn't answer an email. Okay, hang on. I know, dead air, dead air, dead air. Rocket Co, you are completely useless to simply say to me, Mike, do I answer my emails? Yes, I do. Why don't you ask me this question? Mike, do you miss emails sometimes? I do. You know, I get over 400 emails a day. In fact, today's kind of a record. I'm up to 600. So do I miss some emails sometimes? I do. The answer to that is if you want something, you ask again. I actually respect people who push me a little bit. I don't like passive-aggressive who just ask me questions like that. Joe, come on, man. Did I miss something? Do you need something? I apologize. I clearly missed it. But don't be a wuss and just sit there and say, do you ever answer your email? Ask it again. In the email, you can yell at me. Mike, you big jerk. This is the third email I've sent. I need a little help. You're ignoring me and I'm feeling a little frustrated. That's cool. I can handle that. But don't be passive-aggressive. I am here to help you. I am glad to help you. I am a man. I have a mortal coil. Ardian, should have put my resume in there. Former Air Force cruise missile tech. Very cool. Yeah, Rocket Co. I want to help. I don't know. I have so many hundreds of emails, and I apologize. I know you've said this before, and I get embarrassed. I feel bad and ashamed that I'm not properly addressing your needs. So if I come off a little terse, it's just because I don't remember anything. Oh, no, I'm good. All right, guys. Tell you what, since I promised, let's do at least one quickie competition. What do you say? And we're going to do a Network Plus question today. Rocky, just send it again, man. Just send it again, whatever it is. I definitely remember getting an email from you, amigo. And like I tell the tax people, I forgot. All right. So guys, here's how stumbled into kind of an interesting question. All right, guys, so here's how all this works. You guys ready? Number one, you are competing for free practice questions. You can choose between A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus, and we have more than that, but I'll go with those three. Morton Ramstedt. Hi, Mike. What kind of SSH Telnet client do you use? Come on. What kind of client do you think I use? I'm a Windows guy, therefore I'm a putty man. Although I am using the built-in SSH client that comes with Windows more and more these days. All right. So the important thing about this, guys, is that this isn't fair, all right? I try to make it fair. I'd like it to be fair, but sometimes it's just not fair. And on those cases when it's not fair, I win. So basically, whoever shows up with the first answer, the first correct answer, wins. Do not type in A, B, C, or D. You have to type in enough of the answer so I know what you're talking about. So, with that attitude in mind, shall we begin? I'm going to dedicate this one to my buddy Rocket Co. Ready? Here we go. All right. This is a great Network Plus question because people always forget RAID is on Network Plus. Which RAID solution creates a full copy of data stored on a disk to another disk? It's a full copy. I'm going to let you guys stare at that for a minute. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Looks like some people are coming in. And Rocket Co., while people are doing the test, you are always welcome to contact me. Always, never a problem. All right, lots of smart Alex in here. Nothing wrong with that. Ignore the Tolowitz and the Hutzes. All right. All right, we got a number of answers in here. Okay, I'm pretty sure. The right answer is going to be a mirrored volume. Let's see what the assistance window says. Check your answer. Your answer B is correct. Ta-da! So mirrored volume is the right answer. So let's see who's got the right answer. Now remember, guys, I'm looking on the live chat. The first person who typed in mirrored volume wins. And just because you might think you're first on yours, that doesn't mean you really are on mine. So let's just see what we got over here. All right, so we have a winner. Abu Bakr Alj. Abu Bakr, I apologize for mauling your name. I maul your name almost as bad as I maul Rocket Co's, but sorry about that. Anyway, Abu Bakr, you are the winner. Congratulations. Yay! Okay, in order to claim your prize, what you need to, not that one. What you need, actually, let's put that one up. In order to claim your prize, I want you to contact me. I want you to send an email to michaelm@totalsem.com. Abu Bakr, are you paying attention? It's very important. If you don't get this right, you don't get no free prizes. So, number one, what you need to do is send me an email, and in that email, I need you to, number one, put your name. I want to see it in that email. I don't care what your real name is. I want to see that Abu Bakr, whatever, in that email. Whatever your name shows up in YouTube needs to be in that email. And then tell me what you want, A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus. The choice is absolutely yours. And congratulations to you, sir, for winning. Well done. David Mohan, where is Rated Network Plus? It's there. You guys want to do another one? Let's do one more. That was fun, but I want to do another one. Ooh, this could be a good one. I don't trust that one. Hang on. I'm looking for a better question. Bear with me. Ugh. Too easy. Too easy. Don't like it. Boring. I'll find one. All right, I'm just going to go for this one. I don't even know what the answer is for sure. Let's see. All right. We're going to go for this one. You guys ready? Here we go. Which of the following processes or policies should be included in your organization's security policy? I will let you guys All right, so if I'm looking at this question, which of the following processes or policies should be included in your organization's security policy? This is one of these infuriating questions. That's a good question because it's similar to what CompTIA does. Number one, organization security policy. So there's security type things. So let's take a look at that. And really there's only two that could be security policies. Clearly strong password policy is easy, but equipment purchase, that's not really too much of a security issue. Although there might be some kind of vendor issues there. Employee discount problem, definitely not. Cable, those are not security standards. So choose two. I'm thinking it's social engineering response process. Let's see if I'm right. Yay, all right, so I got it right. Let's see what anybody did here on the competition. By the way, guys, while we're looking, Jack the Attack Cat, my old host, is actually watching right now, and he's saying something about Tolowit. I'm not going to repeat that. All right, so who got A and B there? Strong password policy and social engineering response. All right, so I do have a winner, and I'm going to clip the winner. This is going to go to Tom Pinkerton. Tom Pinkerton, you are the winner. Strong password policy. Whoops, did I get that right? Social engineering. Yes. Well done, Tom Pinkerton. Tom Pinkerton, in order to claim your prize, send me an email. Send an email to michaelm@totalsem.com. And Tom Pinkerton, make sure the name Tom Pinkerton shows up in that email. Otherwise, you won't get it. You get that? And then, what else do I need to put in there? And then tell me what you want, Tom. You want A+, Net Plus, Security Plus? You are welcome to it. RAID is not an objective in Network Plus, Dave Rush says. Well, it used to be, Dave. Dave, you saw the question. Let's pull that from the database, man. Jeez. So anyway, where'd you go, Tom? Where'd you go? Tom Pinkerton, congratulations to you, sir. And look forward to, we will get that to you. So all we need is an email address, and then we give you a password that you can change. All right. All right, well, it looks like the questions are kind of wrapping up for the day here, folks, which is just fine. I am going to definitely take a look. Jane Slayer was talking about these resumes that are being scanned. And I am familiar, I'm not even beginning to argue with you. I agree that larger enterprises do stuff like that. But I have just the person I'm going to talk to who is a head of HR for a very large company, and she would be able to give me a better opinion on stuff like that. Also, Jane Slayer, if you have any information to back this, I would very much like to hear about that. That is an area that I'm, because we're a little mom and pop and we work with a lot of mom and pops. That's how we tend to work. But do keep that in mind. Also, guys, remember, so we'll be back here on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Don't forget that on Friday, Dave Rush will be doing the Dave Rush AMA, D-R-A-M-A, Dave Rush's Drama, where Dave uses the lowly Raspberry Pi as a tool to learn all kinds of cool CompTIA certification school sets. He's going to be teaching NetStat to manage your Network Plus switches and outputs. And it's going to be concentrating on Network Plus and Security Plus. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that myself. Alex H. just joined in. Yeah, you missed all the fun stuff. Tolwood, have you checked out the Windows 11 system requirements? I have not, but I've heard some things that they're pretty hairy, and I have not looked at those. Tolwood, if you've got a link that shows me Windows 11 system requirements, I would love to see that. The few machines I've put it on, it came right up, but those are all in VMs, and I tend to make very large VMs for Windows operating systems because it's always very, very handy. All right, guys, well, I am out the door then. We will be seeing you guys on Wednesday, and Rocket Co., send me one more email. I promise. I swear to God. The problem is I don't remember who Rocket Co. is, even though you've told me multiple times. Navy Bliss. I did not get exam questions from Kathy. Navy Bliss. All right, here, basically we'll make a big thing on this. I'm going to have to check records. Don't think you can sneak them past me. Navy Bliss, send me an email, man. Send me an email, michaelm@totalsem.com, and we will go through all this and get that cleared up. All right, guys, I'm out the door here. I will see you guys on Wednesday, and until then, we're giving up on Kathy here. I'm taking care of these myself. And we will be talking to you guys soon. Until then, I will see you Wednesday, everybody. Bye-bye. I'll talk to you all soon.